I'm Robert Knoll. This is a part 2, the 12-tone chromatic scale, and we want to also start talking about intervals. So it's a mission. In the first part, we talked about just counting, numbering the 12 tones. So I'm going to count the numbers starting on the root, considering A as my root, but I'm going to call that 1. But I'm just numbering the 12 tones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Then it starts over again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then it starts over again. 1. I could keep going. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then I'm back to 1. I could keep going, 1, 2, 3, 4, or I could come backward. When I start at this, what I'm considering the root note on A, I could go backwards too, because A is 1, I go to 12, 11, 10, 9, open E would be 8. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then I'm back to 1 again. So being able to count the 12 tones is important. Now today we want to talk about intervals. Let's go with the root. We're in the key of A. We have 3 sharps. So when you look at my chart for this, you'll see the root is starting on the 5th fret, and it's starting, I've got a fingering that's important that you follow the fingering, okay? And then I'm naming R as the root or key note. When I say R, that's your root. When I go to the next interval, that's M2. This is an interval, 1 semitone. I'm not going to count the intervals this time. I'm going to actually say the intervals of the 12. The root, the key note, right? 1. Then I go to what's called a minor second. I go to a major second. Then I go to a minor third. I go to the next string for the major third, perfect 4th, tritone, perfect 5th. I come up 1 semitone with my baby finger for the minor 6th, and then I go to the major 6 on the next string, 4th fret. And then I have the minor 7, I have the major 7, and now I'm back to 1. So that major 7 was the 12th tone. 12th tone, right? Now I'm back to 1. If I come up a half step, I shift up. That's my minor second. I go to the next string for the major second, minor third, major third, perfect 4th, and then I shift up for the tritone. Now I'm in position for my perfect 5th, my minor 6, my major 6, my minor 7. Now I go to the next string. I shift down to the 4th fret for major 7, and now major 7, root is 1, minor second, major second, and I could continue from major second to minor third, major third, perfect 4th, tritone, perfect 5th, minor 6, major 6, minor 7, major 7, and then I'm back to root again. And I could keep going, and more frets I have. I could also go backwards. You know, I played major 7 here, I played root, but I could have also go in reverse from root to major 7, to minor 7, to major 6, to minor 6, open E would be the perfect 5th. So I could do that on any string. I could climb up any string and intervals. I'm just going in semitones. I'm counting 12 tones, but I'm naming them 12 different intervals now. So what is an interval? An interval is the distance between 2 notes. When you examine and start to study intervals, you need to know what it sounds like to play a minor second. So when you play a minor second, that could be difficult to find a root and a minor second. I would have to find an A note, and then I'd have to find a B flat. If I stretch my fingers down, I could play the A and the B flat. But that's kind of difficult. My hands aren't really that. Could I find another way to do it? Well, maybe I could go to the middle A here. I got my middle root. And can I find a B flat? Well, B flat down here on the G string. So that's what a minor second sounds like. I could play a root here, and I could play the upper octave minor second. Yikes. Or I could play this root and this minor second. It's a weird sounding interval. The root note, The 1 is the keynote. It's earth. When we go to that minor second, we're hearing dissonance. I see the blood color because it's not nice. Yikes. It's an interesting color. So we have a little skepticism here in the significance of a minor second. What does it sound like? What does it evoke in my mind? In my brain, I think of something not right. Yikes. Not right. Some issues here, right? It's a weird interval. That's the key word we're talking, these two key words, dissonance and consonance. Consonance when it sounds decent, it sounds good together. Dissonance is when it has that outside, something, it's not sounding right. That minor second is poisonous to me, it doesn't sound good. It builds tension and it builds dissonance. It makes dissonance. When I go to the next interval would be what we call the major second. And major second, I kind of see as it has a warmness to it, but if we were to play a root and a major second together, like A and B together, we get dissonance. So the major second, or if I played it up an octave, and then I play. Now that kind of sounds kind of weird, okay? But when we build other notes around that major second, and I have my root, my major second, put a fifth in there, I maybe put a major third in there. Now the major second doesn't sound so bad or dissonant. It acts like kind of like a warmness in a way. So major second, dissonant, but if you use it with other intervals in the environment, it can sound good. So I kind of hear that second bum, bum. To me, that's kind of warm, but it has a little bit of that, I don't know, we're getting close to the dissonant, like, okay, kind of weird. Something's weird about the second. But overall, I call the major second a semi-warm tone, but dissonant warm. I go to the minor third, which is my fourth finger from root. That's 3 semitones now. 1 semitone to the major second, 2 semitones to the major second, 3 semitones to the minor third. Well, when I play a root in a minor third, you might say that's dissonant, but I call it a kind of dissonant consonance because the minor third is sad. It's blue. There's different shades of blue. I play a root here and a minor third up here. Bum, bum. It's kind of sad. Kind of sad. So therefore, the blue coloration. Let's get to the major third. The major third is yellow. When I'm on to my next string, I went, of course, we've gone from the root, the minor second, the major second, the minor third. Now we go to major third. What does major third sound like? Whoa, harmonious, consonant. It's not dissonant. It's warm, yellow, like the sun. Warm, nice, healing. It's part of our major triad. In root position, if I played root, major third, perfect fifth, we've got our major chord. So in order to have a major chord, we got to have a major third. Very important rule. So I could put the major third here. Oh, what else could I put in there? I could put sevens and other intervals in there. I could build around that major third. So that's making that a major sound from the major scale. 1, 2, 3, do, re, mi. It's mellow. It's nice. To the next interval. Major third next is my perfect fourth. Wow. Perfect fourth. I call that the psychedelic tone because it's in between everything. It belongs kind of everywhere, and it's in between. Later study the sus chord, the sus4, the sus9, the sus2. We have the sus's because we don't have a minor third or major third. It can be either or not. But we add the sus, we call it a suspended note. It kind of hangs in the middle. So it has that quality. I don't call it really dissonance, I call it harmonious. It kind of sounds oriental to me. I'm going to say that it's consonant, and it's psychedelic. It has a lot of colors that could be coming in and out of that, going places. If I was... Very interesting interval, the perfect fourth. Next to the perfect fourth, we got root, minor second, major second, minor third, major third, perfect fourth, tritone, or flat five, or raised fourth. Well, want to talk about dissonance? Now we have dissonance. If I play a root and the tritone, listen to that. It's evil, it's blood, it's sickness, it's poison, it's bad politics, it's, I don't know, everything nasty, negative. So I'm playing a tritone chord. I've added tritone, I played another root, and I played the other tritone. So I've got two roots and two tritones here. Wow. So tritone, we need to know that's very dissonant. We can use it as a leading tone though, because tritone wants to go where good is, to a perfect fifth or the fourth. So it's in between some positive notes, okay? That makes sense. I hope it does to you. If you play it and hear it. Our next interval though, next door to the tritone, is the perfect fifth. So when I play the root note and the perfect fifth together, to me, that's natural. That's nature. In guitar philosophy, guitar biology, here's where nature comes in. The major third was the sun, was warmness. And now we bring in the green of nature, down to earth. So far, we've got up to the perfect fifth. The next interval you'll see is a minor six. The minor six is kind of, I would say we've got dissonance going on here, or either a strange kind of consonance. I like the way it sounds. It's like a question mark. I've got pink there. Pink is between going to white, which is wow, to not bloody, but something's going on. Do I understand it or not? It's a skeptical interval to me, the minor six. Our next interval is the major six. So far we've gone root, minor second, major second, minor third, major third, perfect fourth, tritone, perfect fifth, minor six. Now we get to the major six. Now major six, to me, that's consonance. It's kind of almost wanting to be dissonant, but I hear a warmness. It's not cold to me. So therefore I hear a yellow, a sunset. It's the end of the day, maybe, okay? Now that has a little bit of that pink in there. It might be a gradient, a little bit of that weirdness from the minor six, but it's mostly in the orange, in the warm. The interval of six. If I was to play a root here and play a 6th way up here, bum, bum, or I was to play it here. So hearing your 6th, when we add that to a chord, like a major 3rd and perfect 5th, and we get a A6, that's a pretty chord. That's not dissonant, that's warm. I add it to a 7th chord, dominant, and it's got that little bit of zing. I hear a little bit of that pink coming through. Okay. All right. Talking more about intervals here. Let's keep going. How about the minor 7? Sometimes we call that a dominant 7. It's a flatted major 7. We've got root, minor 2nd, major 2nd, minor 3rd, major 3rd, perfect 4th, tritone, perfect 5th, minor 6, major 6, minor 7, the 11th tone of the 12-tone scale. Well, how does that sound with a root? Ooh, it's in your A7 chord. You play an A7, you've got a 7 here, maybe you've got another 7 in the top. To me, the 7 is blue, but it's serious. It's a little more serious than the minor 3rd is so nice and minor is sad, but we can have that with the minor 7. We get a very blue chord, the minor 7 chord. Anyways, minor 7 to me is a dark blue. It's probably a gradient because it can have different colorations, just like the minor 3rd could be a gradient also. Different levels of sad or melancholy. Next to the minor 7, we come up with the 12th tone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 is the major 7. The 12th tone of the 12-tone scale is a major 7. Wow, that sounds really kind of dissonant when I hit that with a root. Wow. Definitely not pleasing. But it's just like I've said it before, it depends on the environment. You surround a bad person or a bad being or whatever with good people, like a major 3rd, the warm, and you put a nature in there, perfect 5th, then that major 7 doesn't sound that bad. It heals it. So the major 7, it's a blue note. It has some issues, but it has that purple I've added to it because that purple is that it's versatile. The major 7 is versatile. It can be a mellow note or it could be a dissonant note. It can kind of fall in between harmoniously dissonant or consonant. The major 7, when I surround it by other notes, it becomes very nice, very pleasing, very pretty. But just on its own, do something with me. Something's not right until you add in other intervals. The power of intervals. Now I could keep going to the next octave. We've got root, minor 2nd, then we go to major 2nd, minor 3rd, major 3rd, perfect 4th, the tritone. Then we go to our perfect 5th, our minor 6, our major 6, our minor 7, our major 7. Now I'm back to root. I could go minor 2nd, major 2nd, minor 3rd. Then I could go to major 3rd, keep going. Perfect 4th, tritone, perfect 5th, minor 6, major 6, minor 7, major 7. Now I'm back to root. I could keep going. 1, minor 2nd, major 2nd, minor 3rd. I could go in any direction. I could go down and up. It's important that you're able to see vertically and horizontally your 12-tone scale on whatever root you're starting on. I'm looking at it right now in form 2. I could apply it to a form 1 or a form 3 area and branch it out, form 4, form 5, and open chromatic 12-tone scales. You're learning it in form 2 just to get the idea of the 12-tone scale and hearing intervals, understanding intervals. We can't understand scales, chords, and arpeggios unless we understand intervals. So this is a mission. When I get to part 3, I'm going to get deeper into this. And I want to tell you also with these charts and with the colors that I've added, the guitar philosophy, the biology of colors into feelings, emotions, what we feel, what we smell, our sense of touch, our vision, what we visualize, and what we hear all comes together in intervals. Thus, I have a color system to put an idea of creativity in the interval as to what color I see, or what color it evokes in me, or maybe later what smell it evokes into me. What smell does the tritone have? What smell does a major third have? A minor 6. So you want to get used to playing your intervals. You want to be able to play the root, learn what a minor second sounds like, a major second, a minor third, a major third, a perfect fourth, a tritone, ear training. What do perfect fifths sound like? Do you hear that in heavy metal music? Perfect fifths. Very powerful, but down to earth. Right? Minor 6, out there. Major 6, a warmness. The dominant 7, very serious. Right? And then we go to major 7. Studying, challenging yourself to hear intervals, hear the feeling, the emotion in intervals. And what happens later when we surround those intervals with other intervals? Then a whole lot of science happens. You might want to call it magic, but it's science, guarantee you. So the philosophy of music theory, philosophy of guitar, understanding our fretboard opens up. The landscape opens up when we look at it in 12 tones. It even goes deeper when we look at it in colorations of intervals. And we associate that with the trinity or trilogy of scale, chord, arpeggio. Now we're starting to deal with intervals. So we can analyze our chord, we can analyze our scales, our arpeggios, and we can hear them. When we hear them in nature, we hear intervals, the birds singing, the trees, the wind blowing. We hear them unnaturally in the traffic, the city sounds, man-made sounds, jet airplanes. We want to also think that we can combine nature and man-made intervals. So when you hear a sound, can I hear 2 tones? If you hear 2 tones, it's an interval. What interval is it? Maybe you'll start to explore the sounds that you hear, the ones you like and the ones you don't, and see if you can analyze sounds. What does that do? It's going to make you a lot more creative. It's going to make your ear bigger. So when you learn guitar solos and learn songs, you'll know more about it than the next guy, because you'll know about intervals and you'll know why this chord is being used, because it's sad or it's warm or it's healing or it's ugly and nasty and builds tension. Tension to release. Anytime we have tension, we can go down one interval or up one interval and release. Tension and release. Very important when we get to learning more about improvising. So I hope this all makes sense. Or if it doesn't, you'll study it and you'll learn it. And because you care about being a better musician, a better guitar player, understanding music, hearing music better, training your ear, and understanding how to analyze. How do we analyze a song? How do we analyze a style that we like? We like that saxophone sound or that piano or that other instrument. What's it doing? What intervals is it playing? What are the chords made up of? What intervals? When you understand the science here, the theory, music theory, really becomes interesting. It makes everything much more fun to explore, to go on journeys, to go on adventures, and to go on missions like we are. All right. Thanks for listening. I invite you to stay tuned for part 3 of our interval 12-tone mission. And also, I'd like to remind you, hit that like button, subscribe, look at also my Patreon family. Becoming a member over there would be great. So long. We'll see you in part 3. We'll be back part 3.